Hello everybody, welcome back to Five Fuel Junction and welcome to another review. Yeah, I've got another one, but well, I think I have to put up with it. I'm not going anywhere, so I have to get used to these, unfortunately, even though I have done them for quite a while and I've done plenty of them. But yeah, we've got another one once again. I've got another loco, and this one, as we could see, we've got another Hornby diesel for us today, and it comes in the form of a Class 56 in the railfreight coal sector livery. And now, obviously, recently, I can't believe it's already been around a week already. We had the very famous, well, probably not so famous, but at least in the model world, with us modelers, we had the very nice Warley exhibition around a week ago now. Obviously, if you haven't been before, if you haven't heard of Warley, it's in Birmingham at the National Exhibition Centre. Usually, I think it's the last weekend in November. I think that's when they usually do it, around then anyway. And it is the biggest model railway exhibition in the UK, and it is an absolutely fantastic exhibition. If you haven't been already, I really do recommend going, even if it's the only time you go. You really, hopefully, you should have a really good time. Lots to see, lots of layouts to see, lots of traders there. All of the major manufacturers go there as well. It really is the must-go show, and they even put that on the poster, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it really is worth going there. It's definitely one of the best exhibitions you can go to. Really, obviously, really big, as I've already mentioned. It is so nice, such a nice show to go to. You can actually go along for the day and just spend the day looking at trains and talking to talking to the manufacturers, seeing samples of new models and everything. It really is worth going. Obviously, I know people do say sometimes it can be quite hard to see the layout because it's just, well, there's just a wall of people. And I do agree, it can be quite hard to see the layout sometimes, but even if you can't get to the layout that you want to see at that time, you can always come back to it, I suppose. But obviously, everyone has mixed feelings, I think, about Warley. Some people really like it, others maybe not so much. But in my opinion, it really is a fantastic show, always worth going, in my opinion. Just make sure you bring plenty of money in your wallet, because I'm sure you'll be buying quite a few things. But yeah, it really was a good show, and it was great to get back to it after a few years of it being not on because of something that we're not going to mention. But yeah, it was good to get back there. Definitely a bit smaller than what it has been, but that was understandable. But it really was good to get back there. I was there on the Saturday, had a really good time. I was there from opening time to around midday. Or just after midday, actually, around 12:30 or so. But it was a great show. Got to see some great layouts, plenty to see on the trade stands, plenty to see from the manufacturers as well. And this is the loco that I came back from the show with. Amazingly, it was the only loco that I came back from the show with. But at least I still came back with something, and I'm so happy to have one of these. I've been looking at getting one of these 56s in this livery for a while, especially the sound version that Hornby did. Now, before we do get into looking at the loco in detail, I will just mention, obviously, yes, this is a factory sound model from Hornby, but the decoder in this exact one is not the original decoder, which is, but in a way is good and bad. I was kind of hoping it would be the original sound. But it is a newer sound decoder with a better sound file and everything. So that's not too bad, I suppose. It is one of these sound files that I've heard before. It's the Howes sound file, which I'm pretty sure when I did the review on the rail freight, I think it was the petroleum sector. It was either petroleum or metal sector 56 that I looked at a little while ago. That one, whilst it wasn't a factory sound model, it just came, well, it didn't come with a decoder in it. But I just ended up having ended up having a spare 56 sound decoder, and that was the loco that I decided to put it in. And I think I'd fitted it before I did the review on that loco. And if I did, then I recommend going looking at that video. And the sound file that was on that decoder in that loco is the same one that's in this loco. It might be a slightly newer decoder. I think this one might be a V5, but I could be wrong. But when we open the box in a minute, it does say it's got these list for all the sounds on there, but it says it was updated. I think it was the sound in this model on that decoder was updated in 2018, which means that the decoder in here should be a V5. Doesn't matter whether it's a V4 or V5 or V4 or V5, but I'm pretty sure it is a V5 decoder. but at least it's still sound, I suppose. But yeah, it's not the sound file that you do get in this loco. If you were to get this loco with the original sound, it's not the one that's in this loco that you'll hear later. However, the sound file in that loco is the one that's in this loco. This is the Colas Railfreight factory fitted sound 56 that Hornby do, or did, I suppose. And the sound file that is in this loco is the sound file. It's the same sound file that you would get in this one. Whilst the decoder will obviously be older, the sound file might be ever so slightly different in one or two places. 99% of the sound file that's in this one is, well, it will be the sound file that you get in this one. So if you want to hear the sound file that you would get in this loco, then I recommend checking out the review on this loco. It was a little while ago that I did it now, but the decoder that's in this one, while this one is it's a V4 lock sound select that's in this one, so it's a bit more modern. This one can take quite a few different speakers as well. Whilst the V3, because the V3.5 decoders use 100 ohm speakers, you can't quite as easily upgrade and change the speakers on those decoders. But because this one's a V4, it's a bit easier to do, and I have already done that, by the way, since the review. This loco has now got a better speaker in it. But yeah, again, if you want to hear what sound file should be in this loco, then I recommend looking at the video on this one. And if you want, you can just skip to the performance section, and you can listen to some of the sounds and basically hear what the sound file is like. And that is obviously the one that would be in here, but unfortunately in this case it's not. But that's still fine, I suppose. Again, it's still got sound. It's a better sound file, obviously overall, and a better decoder. So it's not all bad, I suppose. Obviously the livery, I know I've mentioned it already, but yes, it is the coal sector. I need to say Colas again then. Yeah, it's the rail freight coal sector, so the triple grey livery with the coal sector logo. Don't have many locos in this livery, actually. Well, I don't really have many locos in any of the sectorisation liveries. But would I say this is my favourite sector? I'm not too sure, really. To us, I kind of like all of them equally, to be honest. Anything in rail freight grey, to us, anything in rail freight triple grey takes my fancy. But yeah, plenty of different sectorisation logos out there. So if you have a particular liking to a particular sectorisation logo, then there's plenty of logos out there for you if you want a particular one. And this one is also named Castle Donington Power Station. Quite an interesting name, quite nice, I suppose. But if we have a look at the end of the box quickly, so we can see there. So the model code for this one is R3084XS. So I'm guessing the XS or just the S is for sound, I'm guessing. BR subtext Coco, so that's the wheel arrangement, because it's 3 axles, if you like, or 6 driven axles overall. It's a Coco. If it was just 2 driven axles per bogie, then it would be a Bobo. And it's 56091. Is this one still in service? I have a feeling that this one's still in service. I think this one is with DC Railfreight now. I could be wrong. I might be thinking of 56081 actually. So yeah, I don't think this one's in service anymore. Then I could be wrong. But if anyone knows what has happened to 56091, then feel free to comment below. It'd be interesting to see whether she's still going, whether she's in storage somewhere, whether she's become a Class 69 or going to. I don't know, but yeah, if you know what happened, what the current status of this particular loco, then feel free to let me know. We've got the name again there with sound, decoder fitted, obviously DCC fitted, minimum radius 438 millimeters, so second radius curves. Don't bother using first radius, they are rubbish, way too tight. But then again, some of you might like those curves, but it's entirely up to you. So on the back here, we've got a load of information on the Class 56. So yeah, they began running in 1976, so the same year as the HST. Initially 30 were built, but I think there was quite a few more. Yeah, there you go, further 55. So there was a total of 135 of them. So quite a few. They're all over the country. Plenty of liveries available that they were in. Obviously, they first came out in BR Blue. They also got large logo. They did Rail Freight Red Stripe. Obviously, Rail Freight Triple Grey, Load Haul, EWS, DC Rail Freight, Colas. Loads of different liveries available for the 56. So if you have a particular one that you like, then you should be able to quite easily get one. Then at the end there, we've got some information about this actual loco in real life, and it even has a bit of information there about the power station that this was named after. Closed in 1994 and has since been demolished. Okay, so the power station that this was named after is no longer around. That's pretty interesting. See if it says here. But obviously, when this loco was released, this information could be out of date by now, because this is a fairly old model now, around 15 years or so, maybe a bit less than that. But we can see there we've got. Does it say when the loco? No, it doesn't say anything there, I think, about the loco itself. Well, at least not when it's at least when it was, if it's still running or not. It says that 8 of the class have been preserved, 5 are operational, 2 are under repair, and 1 is awaiting scrappage. That's interesting. I thought there was quite a lot more of them than that. I know Colas have quite a few, but yeah, it's less than I thought still running. I thought it would be more, but that's quite interesting. Unless that, well, yeah, I think that might be when it says the 5 there, that might be the 5 that Colas have. But I thought Colas had more than that, so I'm pretty sure they have quite a few more than that. But I could be wrong anyway. But anyway, enough faffing around. Let's open the box and have a look at her. Don't want to hear me talking for too long, so we'll try and get through this as quickly as possible. So let's take off this packaging. There we go. We can get rid of that white bit there. So here we go. Yeah, so this is the instruction sheet. Well, the list of the sounds that I was talking about earlier. So you can see that a diesel electric sound functions updated July 2018. So I'm pretty sure that the decoder in here was a V5, unless it's just talking about that was when the sound file was last updated. I'm not too sure, but I'm pretty sure the decoder is a V5, but again, I could be wrong. But there, yeah, nice long list of sounds there for this decoder, for the Howell's 56 sound decoder. We've even got functions there to control the end lights. I haven't tried that yet. This loco has already, well, it's a second-hand loco. This loco was purchased from Grimy Times, actually, so as you can see, it has been weathered. Obviously not by me, it was done by them. And it's not too bad. It's not fairly subtle weathering, so it's not too bad, but it looks very, very good. So put that back, there we go. So we can see, yeah, nice long list of sounds. But yeah, I haven't tried all of these yet. I've literally just given the loco a test. I have taken the body off and disconnected the operating fans. I know some people probably might like that. Some of you probably want to see the fans working. But trust me, the operating fans, they can cause problems, and I've seen it. They do cause some fairly poor running at times, and it really does make make the locomotive's motor struggle quite badly, which will reduce the life of it. So I always recommend, obviously if you don't want to, then you don't have to, but I always recommend disconnecting the working fans in these older Hornby diesels, because yes, they can work very well, and indeed they can. I have seen locos with these working very well with the operating fans, but especially the older the model gets over time, especially with longer running, and very especially with poor service, if you don't look after the loco very well and you don't service it and everything, eventually those fans will put quite a lot of struggle. Well, they do put quite a lot of pressure on the motor, and obviously the more strain a motor is under, it will draw more current, it will get hotter faster, and it will degrade faster over time. And obviously you want to try and ensure that the motors in your models last as long as they can, and that they work as well as they can as well. So definitely make sure you look after them. But yeah, it'd be quite interesting to try those lighting functions later. Obviously by default, especially and with the standard decoder, you won't be able to do that. But I'm guessing, obviously, with the way this decoder has been designed, you can obviously control the tail lights separately. I'm pretty sure the loco hasn't been rewired. All of the wiring inside looked as it was when the loco was released from the factory, so I'm pretty sure it hasn't been rewired. Cab lights, there's no cab lights inside this loco, so you won't need that. We've got various other sounds as well, so yeah, it'd be good to hear those later. And we've got this bit of paper here, so yeah, this is irrelevant to us. But yeah, if you were to buy this loco brand new, yeah, obviously it's not irrelevant at the moment. But when you bought this loco brand new, Hornby fitted, I think it wasn't just these, I think it was quite a few of their older diesels. I'm pretty sure that this was, actually no, I know the HSTs used it. I don't know if the older Class 60s used it, I don't think they did, but a few of Hornby's older diesels, especially their big premium heavy ones like this, they had these brackets screwed onto the bottom, and they just basically helped secure the loco to the box, if you like, just to ensure that it wasn't rattling around inside during transit. So it just helped it, gave it a bit more protection, secured it a bit better to ensure that it got to you in one piece. But yeah, those have obviously been taken off and thrown away a very long time ago by the previous owner. And then we've got the important stuff here, so have a very quick look through these. So yeah, the usual Hornby instructions for the Class 56, DCC ready, DCC fitted and sound. So it's going to be the usual stuff that we're used to. So how to lubricate it, and you really don't need much. Just a little drop of oil on the axles to make sure they're running nice and freely. And when you take the body off, just a little bit on the worm gears as well. And that is all you need. It's just 4 screws to hold the body on. Very easy to get the body off on these. We've got the detail pack as well. The details have already been fitted to both ends. While there is a coupling on one end, you can probably just see it just there. Some of the details have been fitted, but they've just been modified slightly, so they're not interfering with the coupling, so that's quite nice. So yeah, there is no detailing pack with this loco because it's already been fitted. We've got the usual stuff there as well, where to fit the decoder. Obviously this one's already got the decoder fitted, so we've already got the 21 pin decoder fitted. And then on the back, it'll just be the usual TV suppression stuff. Yeah, so we're not interested in that. But anyway, after rambling on for too long, we can finally open this up. So if we just take the ends off, we can then take off this flap at the front, lift up the polystyrene, and then we can get to the loco itself. So we just lift it up. Very, very heavy. Very, very heavy loco indeed. But obviously, what else do you expect from Hornby with a loco like this? But yeah, as we can see, yeah, it's just the typical bog standard, really nice, really high quality Class 56 from Hornby. Loads of detail all over the place. You want to be really careful with these sandpipes here, because they are so fiddly. They might need bending a little bit out of the way, because I think, as usual, they are interfering with the bogies slightly, so you get that clicking sound sort of from them. So you want to be just ensure that they're not in the way too much. We've got the usual sprung buffers, and they work very nicely as well. You can see there where all of the detail has been fitted. So we've got some nice air hoses there. We've got the chain link coupling on the front as well. Got the usual electrical cables. Obviously she does light up. We've got the headlights and the tail lights. We can control those independently on DCC as well. The doors open. Obviously the fans do work as standard by default, but I've disconnected them, so we won't see those working, but it'll be fine. You don't really see working fans that much unless you look for them. We have got the printed nameplate there, and the etched one. No, the etched one has been fitted. That is the proper etched metal nameplate on the side of the loco there, and it looks very, very good as well. Got a nice shine to it. Again, more opening doors. Loads more detail on the underframe on the bogies. You can see the weathering that has been done as well. Looks very, very nice. I don't think we get a driver fitted in these locos though. Yeah, there's no driver at all, but that's fine. If you want to fit one yourself, then it's quite easy to do. Again, the body shell comes off nice and easily, and that gives you access to the, well, actually no, it doesn't give you access directly to the cab. You will have to take out the cab detail to get a driver in there. Oh, it's not the camera there, sorry about that. But yeah, you do have to take out the cab interior. The back wall piece is part of the chassis. The actual cab floor and all these bits where the controls are, that's actually fitted to the inside of the body. So fitting a driver might not be the easiest in the world, but you should be able to do it if you want to. And we've got the coupling at this end as well, and you can see there where the hoses and everything have been shortened, so that they're still there, so it looks not too bad. It looks fairly decent, but also it's not going to interfere with the kinematic coupling there, because it is a kinematic coupling and it is a NEM coupling. And this one actually works quite well. It works quite freely, and it returns to the centre quite easily as well, most of the time. So that's not too bad. So kinematic couplings, they can sometimes be a bit of a pain, but other times they can work quite well, and this one seems to be okay. Not that she's really going to be hauling much on the layout anytime soon. She'll mainly be running on light engine duties, but that's fine. At least she's got a coupling there if I want to use it. The grills on the side are proper etched metal grills on the side, on the top. All really nice high quality features. Got the little antenna on the front of the cab there as well. It's the same on the other end. It's a little bit better on that end actually. There we go, that's a bit better. The roof detail is not too bad. Again, you've got a bit more weathering there. The exhaust, you've got more detail on the panels there. It's just fantastic. Hornby's 56s, they are very nice models. They're definitely now charging way more for them than they should be. But if you can get one second hand, I really do recommend it. I mean, the price for this one, for the sound, for the weathering, it was a bargain price. It wasn't even £200. It was a little bit under £200 for this loco. When you consider that, that's a really good price because you're getting a really high quality loco. It's already got the detail fitted. It's got sound. It's been weathered. Less than 200 quid. Can't really complain about that, can you? So value for money is definitely up there. Really good value for money. Definitely 10 out of 10, I think, actually. Yeah. Overall, really good loco. So let's go and put her on the track and see how she runs. Okay, so here we are. We're still on the inner loop today, unfortunately, but that'll still be fine. If we just put the loco onto the track, there's quite a few wheels to get on. Oh, there we go, she's on. And now she is still the default number 3 at the moment. I haven't programmed the decoder yet, but the settings, well, the factory settings, well, I presume she's still got her factory settings at the moment. But at least with the testing that I've done with her, the settings that she has at the moment will be more than adequate for the review. So if we just put her lights on, oh, there we go, that's her tail lights will come on if I just push her back a bit. There we go, we see the tail lights there. If we change direction, yeah, the headlights are working. I wasn't too sure then for a second. If we just check the other end, yeah, tail lights working that end, and yeah, headlights are working that end as well. So if I just grab the instruction sheet, oh, come on, there's about a million other things on top of it. There we are. Now the first thing I'm actually going to try is the tail lights. So if we just change direction again, now function 19 and 20 are the lights for each end. So function 19 is for the number 2 end, so is that the fan end? No, that's the other end. So I'm guessing if we put function 20 on, the tail lights should go off. Nope, they're not. Unless this function does not work on this loco, maybe. I would have thought it would have done, but it's a bit strange that it's not. Oh, there we go, it might work now. Is it going to work now? No, it doesn't seem to be working. Okay, so I don't think that function actually works on this particular loco, so that's a bit of a shame. But at least it's there. I don't know what you'd probably use that function for though, because none of Hornby's 56s are wired so that you can control those lights independently. Yeah, not too sure what you can do with that function. But I suppose maybe unless Howell's just included on all of their decoders. I'm not too sure, but it's a bit of a shame that function doesn't work, at least with this loco anyway. But it's still nice that it's there if you want to use it. But anyway, let's go through a few of the other sounds. So functions 2 and 3 are horns. They're not too bad. And this is still the standard speaker that came with the decoder. Well, I'm guessing it was the speaker that came with the decoder when it was fitted. It's a fairly basic one, but still sounds pretty good. Let's try function 4, which is brake release. That's quite nice, and that sound will obviously play every single time the loco moves off. Function 5 is the buffer clash. Not too bad. Function 6 is the coupling. Short and sweet. Function 7 is the cab door. Yeah, again, short and sweet. Function 8 is dispatch whistle. A little bit deafening, but it does the job. Function 9 is the driver acknowledge. Which, yeah, it's just one of the horns. I'm guessing that's how drivers acknowledge then, the signal or something. Or when they're just, well, I'm not too sure, but well, it's just the horn. So I guess it again. So I suppose it's just, well, if you want to play the horn again on a different function, you can. but it's there, at least it's there. Function 10 is the flange squeal, which looks like it's an automatic, well, not automatic one, but it looks like that will only play when the loco is moving. But at least it's there again. We can try that later. Function 11 is the compressor. Function 12 is the air cylinder, then it's got in brackets Spirax, so I'm just going to say this is the Spirax valve. Yeah, not too bad. Function 13 is the rail clack, which again doesn't work, so I'm guessing I'm going to have the engine running to listen to that, but that's fine. Then functions 14 and 15 are notch up and notch down. Function 16 is fade out sound, so I'm guessing that mutes the sound. And then everything else is just lighting functions. So we can fire up the engine now. There we go, and now let's get her running. Well, I think you'll agree, she sounds absolutely fantastic. And she looks the part as well. She looks really, really good. Yeah, overall, she's great. A very worthy investment from Warley. I think she'll make an excellent addition to the 1980s fleet. If you want a Hornby Class 56, I recommend you get one. They are absolutely fantastic models. Really, really good. And now for some ratings for the Hornby Rail Freight Coal Sector Class 56 with the DCC sound. So first of all, the detail, it's got to be 10 out of 10 for this loco. The detail that Hornby have put into this model is absolutely fantastic. I know this model is fairly old now, and they are still releasing it today, with not many differences compared to when it was first released. But the detail still, it's just fantastic. We've got loads of separately fitted parts, etched grills all over the place, loads of underframe detail, sprung buffers, you name it. The cab detail is really good as well. This loco just has it all. The detail is just fantastic, really, really good. The performance is also fantastic, and it's also got to be 10 out of 10. I really can't fault the performance, to be honest. It's really smooth at all speeds. It's constant, the loco is incredibly strong, the mechanism is second to none. It's just got the typical, the typical really high quality mechanism that will be used in their diesels. I really can't fault it. It's just a fantastic mechanism, and it does provide some excellent performance. Now I know part of it is the chip, but this is a factory sound loco, so obviously being a factory sound loco, I obviously will bring the performance, including the performance with the chip in it, bringing that into consideration. And overall it's just fantastic. Even on DC this will perform fantastically, whether you get a DCC 56, an analog one, whatever you get, it will perform well. These models are incredibly reliable. It's just fantastic. The quality, I really did want to give the quality 10 out of 10 for this loco. However, there are a couple of things that just bring the quality down ever so slightly. First of all, the antennas on top of the cabs,
They are made of very flexible, very delicate plastic, and as we saw when we looked at the model in detail, one of them was slightly bent. Now I know this model is quite old, so it may not be 100% perfect, but I've still had antennas on brand new models like this, they've arrived bent as well. So overall, that does bring the quality down slightly, and similar to that, the sand pipes on the bogies, I find this to be quite a common problem with quite a few different diesels that have these fitted. They are incredibly flimsy and they do get in the way sometimes. When you hear the model running, you may hear a slight clicking sound when the model goes around corners, and that is just those sand pipes clicking or catching on the underframe. So it's not 100% perfect, it's almost there, it's almost perfect, but for those tiny little niggles, the quality isn't quite there. The value for money though, it's definitely 10 out of 10 for the value for money. I paid £190 for this loco, and to get a really high quality loco like this, with all the detail, a fantastic mechanism, light, sound, weathering, all like under £200. You really can't go wrong there. It's just fantastic value for money, so it's got to be 10 out of 10 for that. So overall, that is 9.75 out of 10. Overall, it's a really good loco. It's not quite perfect, although to be honest, no loco is always 100% perfect. But overall, it's a great loco. If you want a Hornby Class 56, I definitely recommend you get one, because they are really good models.